there is a new controversial app that is blowing up called T. And it's basically a dating safety app that's taken America and actually specifically the Muslim community by storm. And even though the app was not specifically intended to be used by Muslim women, it's blowing up specifically in the Muslim community. So, today we're going to be talking a little bit more about what this app actually is, why Muslims are even using it, and why it's causing so much controversy. So, let's jump right in. Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings be upon you. My name is Kashmir. I'm a therapist, an author, and the founder of a private practice mental health clinic called Heal Therapy. I create weekly videos about mental wellness and healthy relationships from the Muslim perspective. If that speaks to you, don't forget to subscribe and let's get started. Okay, so I want you to begin by picturing this, and maybe this is you right now. You're finding out more about someone who you've met online. Maybe it was through social media, maybe it was through a dating app or a marriage app for Muslim women. And you just want to know more about this individual. You feel like as if you don't know their history, you don't know where they come from, you don't know whether what they're saying is matching up to who they truly are. And a lot of women experience this, not just Muslim women. They meet someone for the first time, and there is obviously different phases of a relationship, but they get to a point where they are wondering, do I actually know this person? Do I feel safe when I'm around them? And that's why a lot of women are now turning to the T app. And the reason why a lot of women are turning to this app is because it's being known as kind of the digital, quote unquote, word of mouth app for women. And so what they can do is anonymously post a picture of a guy that they may be talking to and finding out more information about him from other women who may have dated him in the past, maybe were married to him and they had negative experiences. So either he was lying, manipulative, maybe there was infidelity, maybe there was even various different forms of abuse that they experienced. And so women are turning to this app because it's helping protect them, keep them safe, and also helping other women out there who may not have been exposed to this individual before, and they are helping essentially keep them safe too. So the first time that I personally heard about this app was actually on my For You page on TikTok. And I was just scrolling and I happened to come across a post where a woman made a video about her experience with a Middle Eastern man. She thought him coming from a religious Islamic background would be more serious about marriage. And she was not Muslim. She was shocked that things took a turn for the worst. And essentially, when she went on the T app to find out more about him after posting his picture, she learned that she was not the first person to experience this. And so many women just like her are narrating them feeling more safe through using this application and claiming that it's actually saved their life in so many different instances. So that is one of the use cases of the T app. So you might be wondering, okay, if it's like a safety net, if people are using it to protect one another, then why is it so controversial? And this is where it gets really interesting. And I think it becomes even more so relevant to Muslims. As you know, Muslims, especially in areas like Dearborn, Michigan, have a very tight knit community. And when it comes to marriage, dating, courting, all of that before the engagement phase or even during and after marriage, one of the biggest pillars of getting to know someone in the community is through their reputation, through their family, through talking to people, through finding out from your cousins about this individual. And that has been a safe haven for many women who have been interested in marriage and looking to spend the rest of their life with someone. And so now what the T app has done is it's kind of exposed many of the things that were kind of kept hidden and secret in these communities. And these same men are also claiming that women are going to the extreme of ruining their lives just because they were maybe ghosted or something happened and, a relationship went sour, putting their business out on the internet as a form of revenge. Essentially claiming that this is backbiting and slander and that the app is propagating that. So, whilst we're on the topic of backbiting, there are a few different ways of looking at this. The first one is obviously what we know as Muslims, which is that backbiting is wrong, slander is wrong. And we base this on what the Prophet ﷺ himself said when he asked his companions, "Do you know what backbiting is?" And they responded, "Allah and His Messenger know best." To which he responded, "It is to say something about your brother that he would dislike." Then the companions responded and said, "What if what I say is true?" And he said, "If what you say is true, that is backbiting. And if it's false, then that is slander." But here's where it gets really important because there's nuance to this. And actually, there is an exception when it comes to backbiting. In fact, there are a couple. But the one that we're going to focus on today is that when it comes to finding a spouse, backbiting is actually allowed in Islam. We know this because a woman approached the Prophet ﷺ and she asked him about two different men and said, "Which one basically should I marry?" And the Prophet ﷺ, he responded by saying, "As for Muawiyah, he is poor and has no property. And as for Abu Jahm, he does not put his stick down from his shoulder," meaning that he was known to be harsh or violent. So, what does this hadith actually tell us? It actually confirms that it is allowed, that it is permissible, and that it is a moral obligation for people to warn one another when it comes to marriage specifically. So, just as this woman asked the Prophet ﷺ, and he informed her that one of the men was not financially able to support her, and the other would potentially be physically violent to her, warning her against both of them. So here's the question that I think we should be asking, which is, does the TAP fall under this exception? Does it mean that we're protecting one another? Or is it just a place where women are going to seek revenge and doing public call outs against men who've maybe ghosted them or maybe did not show them interest back? And this is why intention is really, really important. Why a woman would go on the app and warn other women and share this information, it matters. Because if her goal is to ruin a guy's life because he didn't show interest or because something went sour in their relationship, then that is obviously a problem. But if her goal is to protect other women, especially from harm and men who have shown patterns of abuse in the past, then it becomes a moral obligation. And it's not just because it's holding him accountable, but it is preventing the spread of fitna, which is something that we hold very, very important as a principle as Muslims. So if you're thinking about using the app, or if you're even currently on the app, I want you to ask yourself this question before posting. And this will help you understand your level of sincerity. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I posting what I'm about to post? Why am I searching for information that someone else may have posted? And if the reason is to protect and to stay safe, then that's good enough, right? But if it is to spread misinformation, if it is to get revenge on someone, a guy who may have slighted you in the past, or if it is to just gossip and to find out what the scoop is on certain individuals, ask yourself these questions and check where your level of sincerity is to decide whether it is a good decision to move forward and use the app, or if it's just something that you're using to feed off the drama. So, all of this to say that the T app is essentially a tool, and as all tools, it can be used for good and it can also be used for bad. Your intentions is what decides that. We want to create a safer community and a safe space, but with the internet being the internet, there will be misinformation out there. You just have to determine, is the benefit greater than the harm? And if there is harm, how can we avoid that? Just to end with a disclaimer that all the thoughts that I've expressed in this video are just a reflection of my own insights. I've not actually used the application, and so I can't speak from firsthand experience. This is just through what I've heard and my own research, but I'm curious to know, have you used the T app? And if so, do you feel like it was beneficial? Did it keep you safe? Did it protect you from any potentially red flag relationships? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and as always, thank you so much for listening. Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings be upon you.